Alright, so what's up you guys, it's your boy Danchou, and for today we are back at it again with another Granblue Fantasy video. Today I wanted to make a video where I showed you guys how to get yourselves the Row 4 and EX2 classes in Granblue Fantasy, as I noticed a lot of beginners in my Discord were asking about this left and right, but weren't sure how to get it done. I figured I'd follow up on this question and make a video covering this process step by step. Now in this video I will talk about certain stuff that you'd really want to know before going into the tutorial itself, as there's quite some information in this process that the game won't tell you but could definitely be beneficial to you as someone who is on their way to unlock Row 4 classes. So be aware that I won't directly jump into how to get it done, but will first supply some beneficial information about this process altogether. Now just before we dig into this video, I just wanted to highlight something really cool that happened recently, and that is the fan art that I received by one of my Discord members and viewers that goes by the name of Ringo, as he made some sick visuals that I just really wanted to show you guys, as I didn't think I'd see the day I'd receive something like this from my viewers. So Ringo, if you see this, thank you very much for your gift, as I do truly appreciate it more than anything. And of course a big shout out to all the homies in the Discord who have been making it an amazing community to be part of recently, for everyone who has joined the Discord in the recent days. We managed to receive 100 new members in a total of 8 days, and that is something I'm really proud of. So hopefully we can continue growing on this pace, and I'll see some of you guys who are watching this video right now there as well. Now with all the appreciation being said and done, let's actually get into this video. So the first bit of information I'd like to talk about is some general information about getting the Row 4 classes. Big part of this process is creating a class champion weapon. Class champion weapons can be found in the shop and will be available under the weapon series tab into the class champion weapons. This is the part where you will see that you are in a Row 1 to Row 4 weapon craft list. Now you could just pick any weapon from this list from here on out, but there is something to keep in mind here, as we get ourselves a better deal for doing practically the same grind, but instead we are taking an EX class weapon. We can actually get an additional EX2 class and the 4th row classes in one go unlocked, instead of just unlocking the 4th row classes but no EX2 class to go along with it. And to make it a bit more clear on what I'm talking about, if you somehow did already craft any class champion weapon from this list to its SSR state and changed its element, you would now have access to the 4th row classes in the game, but you wouldn't have access to an EX2 class yet. But let's say we are going to craft an EX2 class champion weapon to its SSR state and change its element as well, you can then not only access every class in 4th row, but you'll also have the additional EX2 class that is related to the class champion weapon that you choose to craft at the time. So for example, if I forge a Faust replica weapon which belongs to the EX2 doctor class all the way up until its SSR state, then I can unlock every class in the 4th row plus unlock the doctor class from the EX2 row for the same effort that I would have gone through by unlocking just the 4th row. So in short, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone by unlocking the classes in a different manner. By focusing on making an EX2 class champion weapon, we can actually get the EX2 class as well as the Row 4th classes all together, but there are some Row 4 exceptions that can't be unlocked by using this method, which I'll explain a bit more in depth right now. Now like I just mentioned a second ago, this method will not unlock every Row 4th class completely, because as time went on we did receive a handful of newer Row 4 classes, and those are the exceptions to this method of unlocking Row 4. And this is not because we are doing it in a slightly different way to unlock the EX2 class as well, because even if you do skip the EX2 class step and just unlock the Row 4 classes on its own, the classes I'm about to discuss will still not be unlocked. And since we are already on topic of the newer classes, I will talk about them briefly so you know which classes will have to be unlocked manually even after getting the EX2 class weapon. The Lumberjack class can only be unlocked after maxing the Berserker and the Elysian class levels. The Cavalier class can only be unlocked after maxing the Spartan and the Nighthound class levels. The Monk class can only be unlocked after maxing the Sage and Luchador class levels. And last but not least, the Robin Hood class can only be unlocked after maxing the Nighthound and the Chaos Ruler class levels. So now with the exceptions discussed, we can talk about the recommended first EX2 class that you would want to unlock and how to go about unlocking these classes altogether. The first replica weapon that I'd highly recommend to forge as your starter EX2 class would be either the Faust weapon, which belongs to the Doctor class, or the Ascalon weapon, which belongs to the Glorybringer class. The reason why Doctor and Glorybringer are such a good starter recommendation is because they function as a very straightforward class to use with good damage to top it off outside of additional bonuses and skills that each class has. And to go even even deeper into the classes themselves, Doctor focuses on flexible support options whilst keeping the door open for players who don't directly want to sacrifice their damage, whilst Glorybringer is a direct upgrade to Swordmaster, as it's a powerful class capable of high damage output due to its many sources of bonus damage as well as the utility available via abilities. Like I mentioned a second ago, both classes are pretty straightforward to use and easy to play with, whilst also being able to be useful in nearly any battle with hardly any to no downside for the players that will be using these classes. So now that we are slightly aware of how strong some EX2 classes are, and that we now know that there is a method to unlock one of these EX2 classes on top of the 4 throws that you guys were aiming for, we can write this up as a win-win situation, with the additional bonus of having an extra EX2 class available to you for the same effort that you would normally spend on just getting the row 4s done. So now with all this discussed and our knowledge in check about the process itself, we can take a look in how this works, and I'll show you guys how to unlock these classes all together. So to start off on how to actually get this done, I will have to assume that you are ranked 101 and up. Reason being is that the last step of getting your classes unlocked, it will need a specific item, which are centrums, and you will need to be ranked 101 to get them. This also makes acquiring some materials outside the centrums needed for this process a lot easier. I'm specifically referring to the creeds and class distinctions here, as trying to get creeds and distinctions to drop normally from co-op is extremely frustrating, and as someone who has done that farm himself, you really should and can easily avoid it altogether by just buying these materials with your prestige pendant. Now let's say you aren't ranked 101 yet, then in that case you can still get everything needed for this process but the centrums, and you'll still need access to the 101 plus raids to finish the weapon. So now with everything said and done, let's get our class champion weapon and unlock these classes. First up we have step 1, which will be buying ourselves the SR Replica weapon from the shop, which falls under the class champion weapon tab. Then we can move over to step 2, because once we have our replica weapon, we want to uncap it. We will use 3 of our steel bricks here to uncap the replica weapon and increase its level all the way until level 75. And in case you don't have any steel bricks to your disposal, you can easily get them by the shop by trading some silver or bronze moons, or you can get them through the casino. The reason we want to use the steel bricks here is because we want to keep the option of having the dupe replicas available to us, as we might need it at a later time for a different reason. So using the steel bricks saves you the hassle of getting the duplicate replicas and allows us to uncap our weapon as we need. Now with step 2 behind us, we can now move over to step 3. We have uncapped our replica weapon and increased its level all the way until level 75. We can then forge the replica weapon into a class champion weapon by acquiring some materials to reforge it into the class champion weapon. The creeds needed to make this step happen can be obtained by renowned pendants, which are available to get pre-HL raids, and the class distinctions can be obtained with the prestige pendants, which you can get from the level 101 plus raids. You could technically check your co-op stages which have the creeds and distinctions that you want, but as I mentioned earlier, this is a very tedious farm which I highly recommend not doing. Once we have gathered all the materials needed for this forging step, we can now level our new weapon to level 100 and rebuild it. We came at the last step before unlocking the class itself, which would be step 4, and it's time for us to change the element of our finished class champion weapon. Luckily for us, all the materials needed for this step is relatively easy to get your hands on and shouldn't cause too much trouble getting it done. However, before we go ahead and actually finish it, I highly suggest that you think about what element you want this weapon to be, as many of these are quite useful as a main hand weapon for their respective classes when fully upgraded. The full upgrade, aka the last uncap of the weapon in question, is something that you probably won't be able to do until a good time later, but it makes thinking about it beforehand all the more worth, as you would want to make a good choice for yourself down the line when you can actually get the uncap done. So once we have everything figured out with what we want to do with it, all we have to do is beating its class quest to make the class officially ours. So now that we have our hands on the element change class champion weapon, a free quest will unlock in Zinkenstill, and once we won this battle, it will give you the trophy needed to allow you to unlock the EX2 class itself and the row 4 classes at the same time. Keep in mind that you do need to have enough CP and class distinctions so that the row 4 classes can be available to be unlocked. Now this was my guide regarding unlocking row 4 classes and getting the additional EX2 class to top it all off. Hopefully you guys will find this information I gave today helpful and made you able to work towards unlocking these classes. I originally planned to go even deeper into this topic and recommend some classes to unlock, meaning that the information given in this video will be kinda kinda hard to soak in, so I figured I'd be best to stop here for now. Now if you guys want more help from me directly, or just feel like joining a place where you can meet more GBF players to talk about the game and have fun, then I do recommend joining my Discord, which I'll provide the link for down below in the pinned comment. So that was it for today guys, it was your boy Danchou. Stay healthy, stay blessed, and I'm out. Peace.